first step is to explore the Missouri River to its headwaters. The second is to press on further west.
Beyond the limits of the purchase?
To the Pacific Ocean, if possible.
But we don't own that territory.
Neither does anyone else. That's the point. Mer. Here is the Mississippi River. Here's the Missouri. Here are the mountains. And here's the Pacific Ocean. Now, we believe there are rivers flowing westward to the sea. If those rivers could be navigated, we'd have a strong claim to the land that lies along the Pacific coast.
Ce film est basé sur un épisode peu connu de l'histoire d'Amérique. Après la défaite de Napoléon à Waterloo, quelques-uns de ses officiers et soldats et leurs familles furent exilés de France en représailles de leur indéfectible attachement à l'empereur. Chassés de partout, ils se tournèrent vers un pays où ils espéraient rencontrer des sympathies et les États-Unis les accueillirent. Par décret du Congrès, il leur fut alloué 4 importants lots de terre sur le territoire de l'Alabama, sur le point de devenir un des États de l'Union. Et en 1818, les colons français commencèrent leur installation. Notre histoire commence un an plus tard, à Mobile et sur la rivière Alabama, à 300 km en aval de l'établissement français de Démopolis.
You two gotta go. Somehow.
Texas, 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 Texas. It's land of promise, I tell no lie. Promise, beyond the sky. 24 hours a day, it's sunny, nothing but trees and just for
I gotta go.
milk and honey rolling by. I'm rolling by. I tell you no lie. The money just flows from heaven on high. 24 hours a day, it's sunny, nothing but trees and just for money.
This land has a name today and is marked on maps. But the names and the marks and the land all had to be one. One from nature and from primitive man. 5 generations ago, a mere 125 years back, this land was known only as the West. There were no roads into the wilderness, only rivers. And they flowed in the wrong direction, north or south, or else they stopped at the Alleghenies. Until one day, a new river took source in the mind of a man named DeWitt Clinton. He conceived of a river that would go west. The Erie Canal left the Hudson above Albany and carried clear across to the Great Lakes. People who yearned for virgin land and a new life now had a highway to take them. And they moved along.
Pride of Utica now loading. All aboard for the Pride of Utica. The Ramsey family.
This man is my father. This is like I knew him best. My dad wasn't just one man named Flip Mitchell. He was a breed of men. Mountain men who lived and died in America. He used to tell me about these men he knew. Men who walked the Indian trails and blazed new ones where no man had ever been before. Men who found lakes and rivers and meadows. Men who found paths to the west and the western sea. Who roamed prairies and mountains and plateaus that are now states. Men who searched for beaver.
Well, we've gone too far to quit now. We just got it.
Indians! Get back here! Hombre! ¡Ojalá! ¡Tenemos la voz!
Hold it. Hold your fire. Hold it. It's Blackfeet. Ain't got no war paint on.
I know I must be very selfish. I couldn't think of facing the world without you.
What are you thinking, Davy?
Not thinking. Just remembering.
United States Navy, do make this account of my perilous journey in the territory of Florida in the year 1840. I knew nothing of Florida, save for this crude map which told me little of the risky mission on which I was embarked. But I did know that here was the scene of the most bitter war in our history, the war against a savage and bloodthirsty foe, the Seminole Indian.
Captain Wyatt, Seminoles. Take cover.
On the 16th of April, 1843. The sun rose in the east and headed west over Missouri. And the sun did say, today's the day I'm gonna pick up that Liberty train and show them the way, the way.
Backwards. Gonna walk the rest of the way to Oregon backwards.
Don't do that.
Why not?
I said don't do that.
Don't do that.
Big country. Is this the place we're supposed to find the Comancheros? You could hide the whole state of Louisiana here and never find them if they didn't want you to. Well, that's our job, find them. Or letting them find us. Yeah.
Well, frankly, I'm amazed. Miss Tetherow, all this redskin lived to tell the tale. I mean, you rarely see hide nor hair, but well, hostile to heat just jumps you and cuts your throat. And they disappear in their own shadow. I mean, they can hide under wolfskin so quiet. I mean, you step on them before you know it. And when one redskin hears, there's a dozen more. Just lurking nearby.
It's what I've always dreamed about, Glenn. A new country where we can make things grow. We'll find a valley where the earth is rich, where the mountains shelter us from the north wind. We'll use the trees that nature has given us. Cut a clearing in the wilderness. We'll put in roads and use the timber to bridge the streams where we have to. Then we'll build our homes, Glenn. Build them strong to stand against the winter snows.
Not only the hard hand of nature was against it, but the impediment of war. Trouble over land smoldered along the Mexican border. Not all Americans were for war, including Congressman Abe Lincoln of Illinois. But a war did break out. And in the end, vast new territories came into the Union, along with their rich Spanish names, Rio Grande, Santa Fe, Albuquerque, El Paso, and most glittering of all, California. Here in 1848, at Sutter's Mill, a man found something he wasn't even looking for, at the bottom of a ditch. And the cry of his discovery was heard clear across the continent, in Boston, New York, Savannah, and across the oceans, in London, Paris, Berlin. But nowhere was the clamor of gold heard more eagerly than in St. Louis, the busiest fur trading center in the world, and the noisiest, bawdiest, most uppity town west of New York.
I can see us on an April night, looking out across a rolling farm, having supper in the candlelight, walking later arm in arm. Then I'll tell you how I passed the day, thinking mainly how the night would be. Then I'll try to find the words to say.
Just tell him
all
that
the things
moving on
you
before winter
mean
sets
to
in.
me.
Get himself another partner. You bummers can divide up anything I got coming here.
Where you at?
Oh, Red Dog. I hear they're digging it up in chunks over there.
Hey, by goom. They're always digging it up in chunks somewhere else. Good luck, man.
Thanks, Jack.
It was my intention to circle south as far as Mexico. The Mexicans have a law against the slavery trade. And since those Indians captured me from other Indians, I have now got full Indian citizenship.
Joseph Lee, you ever study the law?
No, sir.
Well, neither did I. But you ain't got a chance in hell of calling yourself an Indian. You're an African, slave by employment, black by color.
You'll be very happy with the result. And walk toward the left shoulder out. That's the way we do it in the old country. And hold on tight. Here we go. And don't get worried. Move a little back. Listen to the beat. Stay, won't ever let you down. Get ready for a jump. Now we do a jump. A little bitty jump. That's the way we do it. Try a little jumping. 1, 2, 3. And get ready for a switch.
God damn, this place is Babylon!
You know, when we find one, it won't be worth looking for a quiet spot. There isn't one in this whole place.
More importantly, nobody will care. We can kill anyone we want here. Fuck! Everyone's mind is focused on something else.
This is it. This is where we start growing good beef.
Sure looks good, Tom. Worth coming 2,000 miles for.
Everything a man could want. Good water and grass. Plenty of it.
Who does it belong to?
To me. Someday that'll all be covered with good beef. I'll put a mark, a brand on them. To show their mind, too.
We jump off from Independence. We cross the Big Blue River, the Little Blue, the Platte, the Sweetwater. South Pass over the Rockies, down to the Big Salt Lake, then the desert. It's a long, hard grind with no let-up. Rain, hail as big as eggs, breakdowns, prairie fires, sandstorms, dust storms, alkali water, no water. Cholera, Indians, drowning, stampedes, stupid accidents. You'll pass graves everywhere. Milestones along the way. 1 out of every 3 of you will be dead before you get to his California Valley. So if you're smart, you'll leave by that door. That's my best advice. Follow it. Now. All right. You ask for it. You'll get it.
Get down.
Where were you running off to?
He was going across the river to Cincinnati, master. He was scared to go by himself, and he done made me go with him.
You lying scamp. A good flogging Mr. Starr will take to running out of him.
No flogging. They're new here, or they wouldn't have run away. Take them up to the old cemetery and have them pull the weeds.
Get up. Move. As long as I've been at Starwood, he's never whipped a slave. Never sold one, neither. You've got funny ideas up here in Kentucky.
Hush up that noise! There's people here trying to sleep! Hey!
You sons of bitches! We are headed west, goddammit! If it hair lips a goddamn devil! Oh, Charlie, he's fine. Charlie, he's a dandy, every time cook and brings it just
Sorry that you had that curb chain on so tight. It's not the first time you've cut his tongue.
Ever try putting a curb on your tongue?
No. Nobody else ever tried it.
I suppose it takes one of you Southerners to handle a horse.
Well, at least we know how to harness them.
You know how to harness Negroes down south, too, I hear. With a strap across their back.
Come on. When are you going to take a punch at him? Too close to graduation.
Welcome to West Point, sir. May I direct you to the commandant?
Yes, if he's the proper person for me to see. I'm Mr. Custer, George Armstrong Custer of Monroe, Michigan.
The difference then, but there was a band of Pawnee what attacked us before. I ain't had no use for Pawnee ever since. But this one wasn't a Pawnee. He was a Cheyenne brave. I later got to know him well. His name was Shadow That Comes Inside.
Young America was not only a union of East and West. There were North and South, too. And between them, the bonds were weakening. Mr. Lincoln, now retired from Congress and practicing law, realized that the South would fight to mold the new and uncommitted territories to its own image. Still 2 years from the presidency, he pleaded that the free West be allowed to remain free, and warned of the hazards of a house divided against itself. But the South, seeing its power and influence wane, struggled against the inevitable in dozens of Western towns. And slowly, the bitter seeds of civil war took root.
Well, I guess you can tell them about this now, Judge.
My friends, I have news, bad news, I fear. The South has seceded from the Union, and war has begun.
Sei del Nord.
Ho combattuto per il Nord.
Non ci piacciono quelli che hanno combattuto per il Nord. Questo è il Sud.
Lo vedo, fratello, lo vedo.
Facciamola finita, che ci importa di questo beccamorto? Pensiamo alla donna adesso.
Non sta bene prendersela con le donne.
Cosa hai detto?
Non importa. Quello che importa è che voi state per morire.
This will not be a war of short duration, as many people think. It will be as deadly and as fiercely fought as any civil war in history. Now, you men have thrown your loyalty to me, and that loyalty will be amply rewarded. You're not fighting for the North, and you're not fighting for the South, but you're fighting to take what's coming to you. The fine gentlemen of Kansas and Missouri will be fighting each other in the war over something we don't want any part of. And the longer they keep each other busy, the better we're going to...
Continental Telegraph Line has long been the dream of Americans. Now it is to become a reality, a great reality that will eventually triumph over hardship and privation. It now gives me great pleasure to present the Chief Engineer of Western Union.
I've just received a message here which I think better than any words of mine will explain the urgency of our task. Allow me to wish you Godspeed on a journey that will do much to help this union in its hour of greatest need. It is imperative that our government have quick communication with the West. The message is signed, Abraham Lincoln.
jamais vu crever autant de monde.
I got him.
I didn't want this. I tried to avoid a fight. That's why I took the medicine.
We've pulled every stump, we've cleared every field, and we've done it ourselves without the sweat of one slave. So? So, can you give me one good reason why I should send my family that took me a lifetime to raise down that road like a bunch of damn fools to do somebody else's fighting?
Virginia needs all of her sons, Mr. Anderson.
That might be so, Johnson, but these are my sons. They don't belong to the state.
But they will stand for enemy agents knocking war out from under us.
They think spying is beneath the dignity and honor of an army man. That settles it.
General, how do you expect me to get those horses here?
Colonel Sharp, there's a war going on a few miles south of here. If we're to mount a successful offensive in the spring and end the war, we must have horses. Thousands of them. That's why Hudson's out there at Port Hedley, and that's why you're chief of planning. I don't care how you handle it, but don't come to me with it again. Just get the horses.
Colonel, eat this while it's still hot.
That man who brought the cattle.
Colonel, I promise you.
That man really knew his business. Moved that herd like it was a column of infantry. That's prime beef, Johnny. And there's enough down there to feed a lot of people who haven't chewed on meat in a long, long time.
In the territory of New Mexico, toward the end of the Civil War, an Indian, Sierra Chiriba, and his 47 Apache warriors raided, sacked, and looted an area almost 3 times the size of Texas. On October 31st, 1864, an entire company of the 5th United States Cavalry sent out from Fort Benlin to destroy him was ambushed and massacred at the Rostas Ranch. We are indebted to Timothy Ryan, bugler, 5th United States Cavalry, the company's sole survivor, for his diary, the only existing record of this tragedy and the campaign that followed.
On November 29th, 1864, a unit of Colorado cavalry numbering over 700 men attacked a peaceful Cheyenne village at Sand Creek, Colorado. The Indians raised the American flag and a white flag of surrender. Nevertheless, the cavalry attacked, massacring 500 Indians, more than half of whom were women and children. Over 100 scalps were taken, bodies dismembered, plus numerous reports of rape. General Nelson A. Miles, Army Chief of Staff, termed the massacre perhaps the foulest and most unjust crime in the annals of America.
Shooting rifles against bow and arrow. I never could understand how the white world could be so proud of winning with them kind of odds.
I chased all the Indians right out of Dakota.
Give her the break.
Spring of 1865, a great civil war was raging over the land, driving toward a climax, the outcome still in doubt. The states divided, brother against brother on the battle line. And in the backwash of that war, a new breed of men had sprung up. Quantrell, Frank and Jesse James, the Younger Brothers, and a host of others. Renegades and raiders, murdering, looting, pillaging, riding, shooting, slashing their way through one of the darkest pages of our history. And in the wake of the fierce fighting, law and order disappeared, and lynch law took its place. Towns unlucky enough to be located on the border between the North and the South suffered most. But Border City was different. It had a law of its own. High in the Ozarks, lying squarely on the Missouri and Arkansas borderline, it had declared itself neutral, and so became a sanctuary for deserters, cutthroats, outlaws, the flotsam and jetsam of humanity.
May I see your papers, gentlemen?
Here you are.
I suppose you heard. Quantrill and some of his men are headed into this territory.
Quantrill? I thought he was operating in Kansas.
He was. Slaughtered over 182 people in Lawrence. Kansas is too hot for him now.
We're going up there and set things right.
I'll be coming with you.
start all over again. What do you want?
Lead, you're gonna sell it to me. For Yankee gold.
Oh, no.
You didn't say no 2 years ago.
2 years ago, you and your gang were considered allies to the Confederacy.
You mean we ain't now?
Not since General Lee disowned you.
Hold it.
You've used our cause as an excuse for looting and raiding and massacre.
You keep on and we'll massacre you right here. No, we won't. Because he's gonna sell us that lead.
You're not with the Confederacy anymore. You never were.
The president has been shot. The president has been shot at Ford's Theater.
I'm a good old rebel soldier, and that's just what I am. And for the Yankee nation, I do not give a damn. I hate the starry banner, it's stained with Southern blood. And I hate the Pisen Yankees and fit 'em all I could.
The best news was when your ma said that you come home in one piece.
Best news I got was when Lincoln was dead. What's the matter, Mama?
A man shows respect even if it's for a dead damn Yankee president.
Have you lost your reason? The baboon was shot too late.
The bullet which killed him can prove worse for us than for the North.
You talk like you're sick in the head.
Well, he said he was going to take all of us Secesh back in the Union, didn't he?
Here's about the Union.
Oh, lots of us do, son.
I hate the Constitution now, this great republic too. I hate the mighty eagle with all its stress and fuss. Oh, thieving, lying Yankees, I hate 'em worse and worse.
This is the most monumental folly ever conceived in the mind of man. In all this broad land of ours, who wants this railroad that will start at the outer edge of civilization and wander expensively through the wilderness? Who, I ask you, except a small group of money-grabbing financiers, self-seeking politicians, and fanatical engineers?
The learned senator asks, who wants this railroad? Well, I'll tell you. This nation, crippled by 4 years of war, wants it. A great artery through which may flow the gold and silver of the West into the empty treasuries of the East. Grain and cattle into a war-torn South. And thousands of men released from both armies, wanting.
Even before the wounds of the Civil War had healed in Missouri, the railroads came swarming in to steal the land. Everywhere, men from the railroads were driving poor, defenseless families from their homes. And that's when a fresh wind suddenly began to blow. It was other Clay County farmers, the James and Younger boys, coming to the rescue. They tarred and feathered the railroad men and drove them from the land. From that moment onward, they were out.
No dance hall queen.
Good one, she's a faro dealer.
She'd play faro with me anytime. What if she knows any kissing game?
Come on, let's find out. Stand back and keep your talk clean. This lady's coming to meet her brother she ain't seen in 10 years.
Who's your brother, ma'am?
Bill Maris.
Bitterroot Bill? You're the sister of Bitterroot Bill?
If she's Bill Maris' sister, she must be a real Lollapalooza. I said shut up. She's a genuine Article Society lady. Now scatter and let her pass.
Who's this kid think he is, Jesse James?
That's exactly who he is, mister.
You mean that's really
Jesse James, my brother.
In all the world, they were the greatest outlaws. They were the greatest revolver fighters, the greatest train, stagecoach, and bank robbers that ever lived. Frank James was there, armed with his Navy Colts and Bible, and there was Fancy Kid Chadwell wearing his 10 guns easy, and Charlie Pitts, the Ozark medicine man, and the wild Younger brothers. Bob Younger, the youngest Younger, and his brother Silent Jim had been shot in the mouth by a bushwhacker. Silent Jim only spoke with his guns. And there was Big Clell Miller, the mountain man, and of course, Jesse James. Jesse James, riding side by side with the great Cole Younger. And they rode like the wind.
There's 2 fellas up ahead, right at that same spot.
We can handle 2 of them.
If they're hold-up men, they won't be alone. There'll be plenty of others hiding around the brush where they can throw down on us.
Only see 2?
That hawk's been following me all day. In case you thought I didn't draw on you because I couldn't handle a gun.
Train just by listening to the rail.
Them rails is all put together. Pendergrass, can't you shut up?
Keep it quiet.
Here she comes, Sarge.
All right. Get back. Don't let nobody see you. And don't come out till I tell you.
That's a symbol of America's future. Progress. Iron men and iron horses. You can't beat it.
Looks like we're getting close to civilization.
Gentlemen, I give you General Stoughton.
Reach for your gun, sir.
I decline to shed the blood of a fellow Virginian.
You decline every kind of a fight, don't you?
It's right nice seeing you again, Breckinridge.
We had the privilege of fighting alongside him under Stonewall Jackson at Fredericksburg. And you ran.
Sing it with a spirit that will start the world along. Sing it as we used to sing it, 50,000 strong.
Marching, marching to Georgia. Hurrah, hurrah, we bring the Jubilee. Hurrah, hurrah, the flag that makes you free. So we sang the chorus from Atlanta to the sea. While we were marching to Georgia, ring the good old bugle to sing another song. Sing it with the spirit that will start for us.
That's for the 5th Kansas Infantry. Say, we chased those fellas so far from Fredericksburg, they ain't stopped running yet. Yeah, but they must have stopped running long enough to get their picture took. Yeah. Somebody ought to chase the 5th Kansas, mister. Do you belong to it?
All of us do.
So is that a fact? Well, you must have had to run a long way to get back to Kansas. Well, it's gonna be a longer run back to Texas. Oh,
We got this ordinance here, it's passed after the Civil War. Kind of a lot of our boys didn't come home. And the women was beginning to chew up the grass.
I feel sorry for the grass.
I feel sorry for the women. Anyhow, this ordinance states that any man short of being a murderer can be saved from the gallows by any property-holding female, providing she decides to marry. And they done that in Roman times, too, as I recollect.
Sweet Jesus H. Christ Almighty. Ma'am, I think there's a couple of things about me that I'd like for you to...
Anything wrong with that, stranger?
Oh, not a thing, friend. In fact, I admire the style of it.
Might I ask who I are addressing?
I'm Wild Bill Hickok.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
The pleasure's mutual, friend.
When you've been away so long, your memories will let you forget the debts that have to be paid.
Aren't you tired of killing?
I have to survive.
Keoma! 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 Keoma!
You're searching just for what you are, and you go from town to town to find yourself nowhere.
That is a pathetic scene.
Yes, sir.
A ruined and desolate family wiped out by economic misfortune. I find it touching.
Yes, sir.
I'll never forget the first time I set eyes on General George Armstrong Custer.
That's what we used to have.
Half on the string. Half on the ground. Burn him! All iron!
Now listen, friend. The railroad's gonna come right smack through your land, and there ain't a thing in the world that you can do to stop it.
But, mister, $1 an acre. Why, I paid $15 an acre for it. And then there's my home and the barn and the crop.
Well, take it or leave it, friend. But if you won't sell, all we gotta do is call in the government. They'll confiscate your land, and then you won't get nothing. But that's the way you want it.
What'll I do?
I don't know.
Mister!
Mister!
Here he comes.
Mister!
Well,
I reckon if that's the way they're gonna do it.
now you're talking sense. Can you write?
No, sir.
Here. Put your mark right there.
It's a dead one. A ghost.
It's that barrel women and don't give me that. Let go my rifle, you. The hell
Still picking up after your brother. Mom would be proud of that. Seen Mom lately?
Not since the funeral.
Mom's dead.
Buried her 6 weeks to the day after Appomattox. It was raining.
She didn't suffer.
Only in her mind.
Because of me, you mean?
Well, you're the one that said that.
I killed her, that's what you mean.
You never did her any good, Dee. That's what I mean. The day she found you joined Quantrill, she started going downhill for the last time. And when you fellas burnt Lawrence, Kansas, after that she never spoke another word. She just sat by the fire, didn't say anything.
Hey, Robbie, here's a mama for you. One boy goes with Quantrill, the other goes with Sherman. One helps burn down a town, the other helps burn down a state. And the one that burned down the town is the one that done in his mama.
Sherman was war, Dee. Quantrill was meanness.
why I didn't see them in my dream. Sunshine!
Oh, that should have been like, good boy. Lucy!
Young man, your self-righteous piety is commencing to annoy me.
But I didn't say anything, sir.
You think it's shocking to shoot a few ponies? Well, let me tell you, the women are far more important than the ponies. The point is, they breed like rats. However, Lieutenant, this is a legal action. And the men are under strict orders not to shoot the women. Unless, of course, they refuse to surrender.
Make a sound to come back no matter what you hear. Promise.
I promise. Wait! Can't I have Topsy?
There's no time. There's no time.
Here she is, baby. Here.
All right. Now, down low. Run.
Baby.
Chris, go back. Go back, Chris. Go back. Chris, go back. Go back, Chris. Chris, go back. Go back, Chris. Chris.
Where's he taken? Where's he taken? Let go of him! Get your hands off! Get your hands off me! I got to find you! I got to find you!
You been like this long?
Not as bad.
What are you trying to do? Drown him? Here, give me that handkerchief.
Mary. 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 Don't worry. The war won't last a year. I'll be home before you know it. There's no sense getting married and then having to say goodbye. You understand that?
Sure, I understand. Now, get some sleep.
You can manage, Mary. The boys will take care of the stock. When I get back, it'll be just like we talked about last night. You understand, Mary? You remember what you said?
I remember. I said, I'll wait for you.
Even while North and South were being torn apart, East and West had been drawn together by the Pony Express, the most daring mail route in history. 80 riders were in the saddle at all times, night and day, in all weather, half of them riding east, half riding west, between Missouri and Sacramento, carrying mail across country in days instead of months. Unarmed, they rode to save weight. $5 a letter the mail cost, and on thin paper, too. It was courage, skill, and speed against hostile Indians, bandits, hell, and occasional high water. Even as they rode, men were already building a faster message carrier across the country, the Overland Telegraph. And the Indians found a new amusement, listening to the level tune of the singing wires. But far less amusing to the Indians was the coming of the steel roadway of the Iron Horse. The surveyor's route lay through immense natural barriers, the Rocky Mountains, and the equally discouraging High Sierras. But range upon range could never stop the titanic contest between two corporate giants racing to put down the greatest mileage of track before they met. The Central Pacific eastward from Sacramento through the Sierras. And the Union Pacific, forging westward across the plains, with the Rockies still to come. The prize in the race was free land, vast parcels for every mile of track laid, land that would one day be worth millions.
Let the Comanche make no mistake. We will not be dissuaded from our task. We will be in Promontory Summit ahead of schedule 3 days from today. Now go ahead. Put that in your paper.
Tune. It's been playing it all day. What is it?
Oh, it's some Mexican piece. I heard it farther south.
Evening, Sheriff.
Colorado? What do you want?
Just curious again. How'd you come out with Burdett?
He wanted to talk to his brother.
Well, what do you have to say?
Nothing?
You mean he didn't say anything?
Why are you so interested?
Because he's talking now. Hear that music? He told the man to play it.
What is it?
Well, they call it the Degüello, the cutthroat song. The Mexicans played it for those Texas boys when they had them bottled up in the Alamo.
Yeah.
Played it day and night till it was all over. Now do you know what he means by it?
No quarter. No mercy for the losers.
You'd be hearing a lot of it.
I guess we made him talk after all.
Just thought you'd like to know, Sheriff.
You said that nobody came in here?
That's right, nobody came in.
Then how come there's a trail of blood leading right up to that table? Joe, you're playing a lot of sour notes on that piano.
I know I am.
You don't look very happy.
I'm certainly not.
Wouldn't you like to move away from that piano, Joe?
You're darn right I would.
Well, then move.
LeGrand. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning, Miss LeGrand.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen.
Lovely day.
Charming, isn't it?
If I ever get the money, I'd like to make them out of cloth, silk. And I put a drop of perfume, French perfume, on each one.
I'm having a little trouble getting started, Father.
You are in the house of God now, my son. Speak from your heart.
Well, we'll see. Well, I've done a lot of killing. Killed a lot of men and sinned with a lot of women, but the men I killed needed killing, and the women wanted sinning, and, well, I never wasn't much to argue. Most of the men I killed was in the war, so I suppose that makes it all right, don't it, Father?
Go to the altar, my son. Light a candle. And ask God.
All right. I'm home here now for good, Father. I have a little family here, and I don't want no more trouble. I just want a peaceful life with God's blessing.
Get out of here.
Stay put.
You're all primed for trouble, aren't you? Go ahead, pull that gun or hand it here. Well, I'm a patient man, but don't keep me waiting too long. Pay my respects to Mr. Wilkerson. Tell him I recommend he send you packing, because if he don't, I will. Mahoney, get out of here.
Stay where you are till these witnesses get done talking. I intend to get justice done fast. Who's seen what happened?
right. I was lying. My husband is overdue. He should have been home long ago.
Figure Apaches killed him?
Of course not. There are 100 possible explanations.
Indians are one of them.
But we're at peace with the Apache, except for a few
Mrs. Law, if
renegades.
you've got good sense, you'll pack up you and that boy of yours and come out with me. There's trouble brewing in the Apache lodges. Vittorio, their main chief, called a war council. Full report of it's in that dispatch I'm carrying.
But you don't know. We've always gotten along splendidly with the Apache.
Ma'am, I heard your music out there.
Got a match?
Yeah.
You might offer a lady a drink.
You mean this stuff?
Oh, not that stuff. Been drinking that for 3 days. Water. Just a drink of water.
Place the ring on the ring finger of her left hand and repeat after me. Urilla.
Urilla.
With this ring I thee wed.
With this ring I thee wed.
By the virtue of the authority vested in me as a judge of the state of Missouri Court, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Ma, who's my paw? Wild Bill Hickok. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, please, Mr. Wild Bill, don't shoot me now. I ain't done nothing wrong. Don't shoot me, Mr. Wild Bill.
What's this about?
I kicked some drunk soldier's ass around about a week ago. Threw him in jail. Figured these are his friends.
Maybe you ought to apologize.
I don't apologize. Not to you or anybody else. Not ever. Shouldn't touch another man's hat.
I ain't wearing no pistols.
You can't go in.
I want to see my girl.
Esther, I can't allow it.
Has something gone wrong with the pregnancy?
This has nothing to do with that. It's typhoid.
Be sure you'd seen this, Surratt. So I paid you a special visit.
I've already seen it. And it looks to me like you're trying to run everybody out of Dodge City.
No, not everybody. Just the undesirable element.
There's no law in Kansas that prevents a man from carrying a gun or coming or going where he pleases.
There's going to be one.
See, I just rode in. I'm going to wash down some trail dust. And... All right, Marshal, what do you say I done?
You don't remember me, do you?
No.
When you hang a man, you better look at him. Don't go for that gun, Reno. I need you alive.
There she lies, as far into the west as your eyes can see, and then some. Canyon of Death. The Indians say you can hear cries in the night down there that you'll hear all your life. Usually it's only the wind. Now, if anything happens to me, you just keep due west. It'll be 8 or 10 days to water. You live to see it. And I ain't saying any of us will. I am saying it's our only chance.
Let's go home, Debbie.
After Abilene, Bill was at loose ends. He drifted east and accepted the invitation of his friend Buffalo Bill Cody to join his theatrical production, Scouts of the Plains. As a thespian, he was, by all reports, simply dreadful.
And now, my friends, a true story of courage, as actually lived and fought by my dear friend of many years, James Butler Hickok, known throughout the West as Wild Bill.
Oh, here's your change. Thank you.
You want to holler right back, don't it? First one I ever saw you let out a yep, you could have heard it knocking to her. Well, what do you think of her?
Well, that's the ugliest thing I ever saw in my life.
You never saw my ex-wife?
Howdy, mister. We got food down to the soddy if you care to partake.
What's your name, girl?
Rachel.
Rachel what?
Why, Rachel Zachary.
You're no Zachary.
Why, not a Zachary born, but Ma says it's no different than if I were flesh and blood. How do you know who I am, mister? I never seen you before.
I am the sword of God. Fire and the vengeance, whereby the wrong shall be righted and the truth be told.
There's an old story. The way the Apaches tell it, a man was riding in the desert and he come across a vulture, the kind they call turkey buzzards in Arizona, sitting on a rock. Hey, the man says, how come you old turkey buzzards sitting here? I saw you flying over Hadleyburg and I didn't want to meet up with you, so I turned around and I come this way. Old turkey buzzard says, that's funny. I was only passing through that town. I was really coming over here to wait for you.
turkey buzzard. Old turkey buzzard, flying, flying high. He's just a-waiting. Buzzard's just a-waiting, waiting for something down below to die. Oh, Buzzard knows that he can wait, 'cause every mother's son has got a date with fate, with fate. He sees men come, he sees men go, crawling like ants on the rocks below. The men who scheme, the men who dream and die for gold on the rocks below. Gold, 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 they just gotta have that gold. Gold, gold, they'll do anything for gold.
I don't see anybody else in there. Maybe you better check around.
Young man, how'd you like a job?
I got a job over at Pryor, Dillon Farrell.
$75 a month.
I don't know, being a deputy isn't exactly...
I'll make it 100, but don't try and hold me up for more.
$100? What's the marshal gonna say?
Marshal Meeker's gonna like you just fine, deputy.
Sometimes it's peaceful, and sometimes wild and free. Love is a traveler on the river of no return, swept on forever to be lost in the stormy sea.
In 1872, the long, bitter war fought between United States cavalry troops and Apache bands led by Cochise came to an end. The peace treaty signed by Cochise and General Howard brought peace to the Arizona Territory. But 3 years later, the mighty leader of the Chiricahua Apaches grew ill and came to the end of his days.
We're living in the middle of nowhere. 200 miles from any kind of law and order, except what I've built up myself. Ever since I started, and this you don't know, I've been badgered, skunked, bitten out and bushwhacked by thieves from everywhere. And now, one of my men's been killed. I find my horses, I find the killer. I find the killer, I hang him. I've got to keep my own reckoning, Joe. It's the way I built my life and half the transportation of the West. Goodbye, Joe.
Hear the words of Cochise for the last time. Tarzan, my first son. Lead the Chiricahuas as I have led them. Honor the peace we have made with the White Eyes.
Wider! Don't shoot. If you miss me, it'd destroy your reputation.
Mister, I ain't in the mood.
Larry Digger from Dodge City. People tell me you the man I'm looking for. We used to see 30,000 head of cattle come through in a season. Hell, this year looks closer to 300,000. Think about it.
How much?
75 a month.
Making more than that here.
Plus $2.50 for every arrest. I need help, lots of it. Things are already out of hand.
So you looking for more than one?
Hell yes. You know anyone you can trust?
You might know a few.
Tell him they'll be there in Dundas before he knows it. Tell him to round up every man with a gun, head them off. Tell him there's 6 of them. There was 9, 2 we killed, 1 got away when it started. Tell him they killed a Swede horse trader, wasn't even armed, just shot him down.
They killed Mr. Burnside, too. He wouldn't open the vault.
Tell him they killed the bank cashier, too. Did you recognize any?
No. But one of them was called Jesse, and he's the
Jesse, are you sure? Tell him it was the James boys and...
Hey, it was Jesse James! Jesse James!
Send that same message to Red Wing and Hale, Bedelia, and every sheriff between here and the Missouri line. Tell him he's 400 miles from his own stomping ground. Tell him it's a chance of a lifetime to get Jesse James.
But the people of Missouri would never forget what the boys had done for them. And that's why, in 1876, the Missouri State Legislature met in an extraordinary session.
These James and younger boys are called outlaws by some. But to many more, they are heroes. Now, I propose that a full and complete pardon and amnesty be granted to them. Let them go scot-free. And let those who have pursued them cease and desist immediately. And let these James and younger boys return to their homes and their families to lead fruitful lives, so that we may have peace once again in Missouri.
But the railroads had hired the greatest detective of them all, Allan Pinkerton. And here's where the true story of the Northfield raid began.
Hold your rifles. Ready for aim. Aim. Fire!
Had come to look the devil in the eye and send him to hell where he belonged. The only question was how to get him there.
I don't even know where I am, what day it is. It's about dawn on the 25th of June. You're on the Rosebud Ridge above the Little Bighorn River. The way home's due east.
The way home? From the Little Bighorn? Why, this whole country's swarming with Sioux.
That's right, Sharp.
In my belief, Custer's hate for the Indians and his ambition had combined on him. He figured he needed one more dramatic victory over the Indians to be nominated for President of the United States. That is a true historical fact.
We will take brief refreshment. Water only.
Yes, ma'am. Water.
The regiment rides in about an hour. You can ride with it if you want.
Where's the regiment riding?
To hell, Sharp. Or to glory. It depends on one's point of view.
Out of ammunition. I told him this would happen, but he just sat there In the White House and left! Not me! The damn drunkard!
This is horrible. We're being wiped out!
For Christian America!
Mr. President, distinguished visitors, honored members of the Senate, taking the Indian as we find him, waving all...
Oh, why don't you shut up?
Mr. President, you're drunk. We can't have a man like you in the White House. Get on your feet and face the enemy!
Maybe you were right. About glory.
Sentence is death.
Custer is dead, and around the bloody guidon of the immortal 7th Cavalry lie 212 officers and men. The Sioux and Cheyenne are on the warpath. By military telegraph, news of the Custer massacre is flashed across the long, lonely miles to the southwest. By stagecoach to the 100 settlements and the 1,000 farms standing under threat of an Indian uprising. Pony Express riders know that one more such defeat is Custer's, and it would be 100 years before another wagon train dared to cross the plains. And from the Canadian border to the Rio Bravo, 10,000 Indians, Kiowa, Comanche, Arapaho, Sioux, and Apache, under Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, Gall and Crow King, are uniting in a common war against the United States.
Boss, I'd like to ask you a confidential favor. It's a delicate matter involving a widow.
Then Bill wades into this mob of drunk sharps, whores, gold panners, mental deficients, liquored soldiers, all of them friends of the great Texas gunfighter, Bill.
Bill Cole. Another one of them bullshit Texans. Never much liked any of them. Mean sons of bitches. Usually cheat at cards, never take a bath.
Platoon of bluecoats from the 7th Cavalry took him on over a chance to remark about a woman Bill was seeing. Bill's great fights always involved a woman one way or another. It was the only time the great Wild Bill made the mistake of taking off his gun. Them soldiers damn near killed him with their fists and boots. It was only the miracle of the bartender, one Tommy Drum, who gave Bill back his firearms and saved the day. Hickok killed two.
Sending you home, Wild Bill.
He killed my daddy! He killed my daddy! He killed my daddy! He never gonna shoot nobody again! Took me 7 years to get him, but I got him!
So, how's life since the war?
Got both my legs. Both my arms. I can't complain.
Got a woman?
Fever took her, started this last winter.
the beginning of a day, September 7th, 1878. It dawned like any other day on the Cheyenne Reservation, in that vast barren land in the American Southwest, which was then called Indian Territory. But this wasn't just another day to the Cheyenne. Far from their homeland, as out of place in this desert as eagles in a cage, their three great chiefs prayed over the sacred bundle, that at last the promises made to them when the white man sent them here more than a year ago would today be honored. The promises that had led them to give up their own way of life in their own green and fertile country, 1,500 miles to the north.
Tell me about the reward, Wyatt.
You'd be doing me a favor if you would call me either Wyatt or Herb. Not both.
All right. Wyatt. Call me Doc.
Company.
Well, I killed the wrong man as to which why I'm here. Had I killed the man I meant to, I don't believe I'd have been convicted. The seaman out there in that crowd is worse than me. Okay.
Before I am hanged, I would like to say, although...
I've had it with being a lawman back. Had enough of being famous. Sick of Dodge.
What are you two doing? Can't you wait to get in here?
Saying goodbye. I'm leaving Dodge, Doc.
Hallelujah. I'll drink to that.
I'm gonna settle down. Start some kind of business where nobody wants to shoot at me anymore. My brothers and I are going. You're both welcome to come along.
Where's that?
Tombstone, Arizona.
Tombstone? It does sound quiet, I'll give you that.
1879. The Civil War is over, and the resulting economic explosion spurs the great migration west. Farmers, ranchers, prospectors, killers, and thieves seek their fortunes. Cattle drovers turn cow towns into armed camps with murder rates higher than those of modern-day New York or Los Angeles. Out of this chaos comes legendary lawman Wyatt Earp, retiring his badge and gun to start a peaceful life with his family. Earp's friend, John Doc Holliday, a Southern gentleman turned gunman and gambler, also travels west, hoping the dry climate will relieve his tuberculosis. Silver is discovered in Arizona. Tombstone becomes queen of the boomtowns, where the latest Paris fashions are sold from the backs of wagons. Attracted to this atmosphere of greed, over 100 exiled Texas outlaws band together to form the ruthless gang recognized by the red sashes they wear. They emerge as the earliest example of organized crime in America. They call themselves the Cowboys.
Hurry up, Dan. We gotta get out of here before somebody comes in. I'm hurrying. Keep your voice down. Sure you got it all, Dan?
Yeah, you about done?
Yeah.
Buenos dias, senor.
Buenos dias, senor.
Over there. Move. Move! Or I don't want you to uncouple that car. Hurry up.
I can't do it. I'm not sure I'm able to do it.
Just get down there and pull the pin out. Go on.
I'm a clerk. I'm not mechanically inclined.
Hurry up.
There is a long train called the 310 to Yuma. The pounding of the wheels is more.
What are you gonna do with your $200 now, Dan? Now that the rains are coming.
People money wait. A drought left me in the hole.
What do you think about double that amount? You can pay your debts, buy 100 more cows, build a new barn.
What time did he say it was? 2:30. You know, when I was having supper with you last night, Dan, I was just sitting there. I was thinking. I was thinking that maybe someday I'd like to have a wife. Yeah. It must be real nice having a couple of boys like that to ride out with every morning. And then a woman like that every night. Real close. That must be nice.
She's a high-riding woman with a whip. She's a woman that all men desire. But there's no man can tame her. That's why they name her the high-riding woman with a whip. She commands and men obey. They're just putty in her hands, so they say. When she rides and the wind is in her hair. She has eyes full of life, full of fire. But if someone could break her and take her whip away, someone big, someone strong, someone tall, you may find that the woman with a whip is only a woman after all.
When did you say you were leaving?
Sun up.
Independence, it's a mighty long way.
Yes, it is.
I've been thinking, I get a furlough in about 3 months. You think maybe I could come and visit you?
Lieutenant Gary, are you proposing now?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Well, aren't you? Don't you?
Oh.
This is our last night. I'm moving to Jollyville.
That dump.
Yes. You're right. It's a dump. But then I work in a profession of diminishing returns. I mean, as time goes by, we all have to take the best we can get. Perhaps one day you will find the same applies to you.
You can do a lot better than that.
There's nothing else I can do. There's no one left here, except town people and a few farmers.
Did the winter wipe out the ranches in Charleyville, too?
Yes. They're building a spur on the railroad.
Charleyville's 40 miles away.
Running out for the reckless ones, the desperados, the gallop and gunshot boys. As more and more citizens demanded respect for the law and showed themselves ready to fight to uphold it. And the raw new towns that sprung up in the West began to dream of becoming as refined as that one-time hooligan city by the Golden Gate. San Francisco was now respectable. So sophisticated, in fact, it even had mansions up for auction.
$2,000. $2,000. Is that your last bid? Ladies and gentlemen, this trophy is solid.
Traveling, son. You're gonna like it. Wichita, Kansas City, St. Louis. Streets are all paved. You won't see mud for a year. It's gonna change your whole life, son.
Game, 5-card stud. But when I deal, I like to start with all 52 cards. There's only one thing worse than a crook. That's a clumsy crook.
Son of a bitch!
First time I saw this country, it had buffalo grass and blue joint up to the stirrups. By the second year, we had 8,000 Texas half-bred cattle and over 3,500 volumes of English literature in my library.
Hell, we just cut out the unbranded stock and divided them up even-handed between the outfits. There was no arguing over Mavericks like today. You got it good today.
2% annual loss then. Now it's 7 from rustling alone, not to mention winter kill, calving loss, miring down in the spring.
The coming of railroads brought changes in the land through which they passed. Now immense herds of cattle were driven hundreds of miles to meet the lines, bound for markets in the east. Fences went up, cattle trails were barred, and a long and bloody wrangle began between cattlemen and homesteaders. The law was in the hands of whoever could shoot fast and straight, except where there was somebody determined to stand for law. Others might look on sheep and a shepherd as a pastoral scene. Not the cattleman. To him, sheep destroyed grass, and grass came dear. And if a man's life were held cheaper than grass, it was considered a casualty of war, not a crime. And in all this, the man with the star was only one against many.
How's that gonna work out?
What do you mean?
You being a cowboy.
Well, I ain't gonna be much longer.
What you gonna be?
Hardware man.
Oh, you mean you're gonna live in town?
Look, Monty. Do you have any idea how many cowhands there were in this country 10, 15 years ago? Well, there's a hell of a lot fewer now. Pretty soon there won't be hardly any. The way things are going, it's gonna get tougher.
Well, come on, Chet, things ain't that bad.
Here they are, Monty.
You ain't suggesting that I become a hardware man, too, are you?
Hell no. But nobody gets to be a cowboy forever.
Trust you to buy another tall horse.
Yeah. He's not as game as Bo, but Stonehill says he can jump a 4-rail fence.
You're too old and too fat to be jumping horses.
Well, come to see a fat old man sometime. Yeah! Yeah!
see you out here today.
Just come out to say goodbye.
Goodbye?
Yeah, Jake and me will be heading out for California soon.
You came all the way out here just to tell me you're going to California. All you had to do is go and we never see each other again.
That's why I'm here.
Why?
You don't make it easy on a fella.
Maybe you thought you'd be back this way someday.
Yeah. That must have been it.
I like about anything but getting burned up. Well, you're about the last of your kind, old man. If I was a better businessman than I am a manhunter, I'd put you in the circus. You know, about this time of year, Indian summer, getting there, they say you can see the Star of Bethlehem. You look real good. I've seen it once or twice. You gotta look away and then you gotta look at it, see? And you gotta look, just blink like that, see? See what I mean?
Deep among the lonely, sun-baked hills of Texas, the great and weather-beaten stone still stands. The Comanches called it Squaw's Head Rock. Time cannot change its impassive face, nor dim the legend of the wild young lovers who found heaven and hell in the shadows of the rock. For when the sun is low and the cold wind blows across the desert, there are those of Indian blood who still speak of Pearl Chavez, the half-breed girl from down along the border, and of the laughing outlaw with whom she here kept a final rendezvous, never to be seen again. And this is what the legend says. A flower known nowhere else grows from out of the desperate crags where Pearl vanished. Pearl, who was herself a wild flower, sprung from the hard clay, quick to blossom and early to die.
Mary, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. And don't forget I said it to you.
Oh, gosh. Hurry now.
Hello, Bill. Pretty fair shooting for an old married man.
Just lucky, I guess. How are you, kid? Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Hey, Billy.
Who's this you got with you now?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28, 29, 30. Good! Hey, Pat! Hey! Let's see the new Mrs. Pat.
We heard about Moon. I don't want you to try anything. Anything?
Oh, Pat, now we come for your wedding. I mean, we would have come to the ceremony.
No trouble. Understand?
No, we don't even get drunk. Show me the present. All right, kid. Come on out if you're still alive. Game's over.
Coming out, Pat.
Poor company, Pat. Yeah, I'm alive, though. So am I.
Ballinger! What'd they give him? A hanging! We're gonna hang him! Get those people back there. Go. Oh, come on, Billy. Billy, stop! Billy? Billy, come on. Don't go for it. Billy, don't go for it. Don't come out, Bill! Don't, Bill! Don't! I got it, Billy.
I don't mean the contrary. Did I ever tell you how he died? Shot him 3 times in the back. Blew his goddamn head off. I don't want to kill you, Bill.
Well, now, I sure hope you don't, Billy.
Then just move toward me. Don't. Don't do it, please.
You wouldn't shoot me in the back, Billy.
Hey, Bob. How's Jesus look to you now, Bob?
Bonnie's killed Bill.
Yeah, he's killed me, too.
Keep change, Bob.
Suppose there's any other way we could work this out.
Well, let's get to it.
10 steps?
Suits me. You count them. You ain't thought of another way, have you?
I can't come up with nothing.
Get to it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
This territory is vast and primitive. There is money here, growing investments, and political interests. We must protect these investments so that the area can continue to prosper and grow.
I believe you rode with the kid, didn't you, Sheriff?
I did?
Then you must be aware of his moves.
Well, I know Billy. He ain't exactly predictable.
Oh, come now, Sheriff. For a man who's half outlaw himself, still smart enough to be elected sheriff by Chisholm and the other big ranchers, I expect better than that. Now, can you bring him in, or should we look elsewhere?
Oh, I can bring him
in. Billy, don't go for your gun. Keep your hands away from your sides.
Hey, Pete, who's that out there?
He considered himself a Southern loyalist and guerrilla in a civil war that never ended. He regretted neither his robberies nor the 17 murders that he laid claim to. He had seen another summer under in Kansas City, Missouri, and on September 5th, in the year 1881, he was 34 years old.
Oh, excuse me. See, I chased right on in and interrupted you.
Who are you then?
Bob Ford.
Well, it won't be for long. After tomorrow, this town's gonna smell a whole lot better.
Ike, why don't you slow down on that a little
Don't tell me to slow down, Tom. We waited long enough as it is. Those herbs and that skinny disease spread there is gonna find out what a real fighter's all about.
I'm moving on. If you're smart, you'll go back to the hotel and get some sleep.
You're gonna need some help if you're gonna take on the herbs.
I got friends. They're coming tomorrow, you'll see. And then this town is gonna thank us for what we've done.
Ike, if you're gonna talk like that, you best take it somewhere else.
What's wrong, Doc?
Nothing, not a thing. I'm right as the mail.
Doc? Doc! All right, get him up. Let's get into the hotel.
What's wrong with him?
Lunger.
I hope you die. Give me my guns. My rifle. Goddamn bastards. Think they can cheat me.
Nobody cheated you, Ike. Just go home.
I don't take no math from no bartenders neither. Hey, you see? Give somebody a rap on the beat or get some respect around here. You tell the Herb. I see them on the street in Doc Hollow. I'm gonna send them to hell on a shutter. You tell them that.
Ike sent me to see you. He wants to meet with you and your family personal.
I've been expecting it.
With no interference from Clown.
You have my word. How many men is he bringing?
6. There'll be Ike and Finn and Ringo and the McGlowrys.
Where and when?
Sun up at OK Corral.
Well, the Clantons are at the OK Corral, all right. They're barricaded down there, all 4 of them.
Marshal, we want you to count us in on this. We ain't fighting men, but we sure like to help you out.
Thanks, Deacon, but this is strictly a family affair.
Let's go.
My dearest one, must I lay down my gun or take the chance of losing you forever? Duty calls, my back's against the wall. Have you no kind word to say before I ride away? Your love, I need your love. Keep the flame, let it burn until I return from the gunfight at OK Corral. If the Lord is my friend, we'll meet at the end of the gunfight at OK Corral. gunfight at Oki Corral. Oki Corral.
Here they come.
Oki Corral.
The outlaw band made their final stand.
Right.
Hit the dirt!
Throw your gun down and come on out, old man.
My boys. Ike! Sam! Finn! Billy!
They're dead. I ain't gonna kill you. I hope you live 100 years. Feel just a little what my pa's gonna feel. Now get out of town. Start wandering.
Look out! Get out of my way!
Take him down to the house, Jack. Allie, don't let him move too much.
Bye, ma'am.
Goodbye.
Ma'am, I sure like that name. Clementine.
What is it?
You know I can't read. What's it say? Well?
Jesse James sent me a telegram last month saying he'd kill me if he had to wreck a train to do it. He said once I got in his hands, he'd cut my heart out and eat it in strips like it was bacon. I'll wreck his train first.
Oh. I'm sorry, Your Excellency. I was thinking about something else.
Jesse James was nothing more than a public outlaw who made his reputation by stealing whatever he wanted, killing whoever got in his way. You'll hear some fools say he's getting back at Republicans and Union men for the wrongs his family suffered during the war. But his victims have scarcely been selected with reference to their political views. I'm saying his sins will soon find him out. I'm saying his cup of iniquity is full. I'm saying Jesse James is a desperate case and may require a desperate remedy.
Y'all got the right man for the job.
Jesse.
Bob, it's me. Come in. Where's everybody? They'll be back after a while.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing.
Sit down.
Nothing's the matter.
Excuse me, Mr. James.
Howard.
Are you gonna walk around outside with them guns?
Warren!
You're right.
Ollie.
Right back. You're not going out like that, are you? Forgot about that. I won't be needing these anymore.
Pop, how much did
You want them?
Sure. Thanks.
I'm feeling sort of peculiar.
Guess I'll take my guns off. For fear the neighbors might spy them.
Mr. Howard. We just killed him. That's part of the game.
If he's such a little fella, you shouldn't play so rough with him.
But that's the way you gotta play outlaw. See, Jesse James has gotta die. I'll die, but they stick me with sticks. Just shoot me, don't stick me. Bang, 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 bang. You're Jesse James, you're dead. I'm dead.
Don't that picture look dusty?
'Cause we're going to California on a train this afternoon.
Look at me. 34 years old and I feel like 90.
I didn't know the lawmen bothered you that much.
They didn't. But as the rewards go higher, your friends grow fewer. They're either killed off or turn against you. Then you worry about the old ones who might be tempted by the rewards. If you don't think I expect someone to try to put a bullet in me, you're wrong.
I just killed Jesse James. Me, Robert Ford.
What?
I just killed Jesse James. Me, Robert Ford. I just killed Jesse James.
might want to keep that.
Jesse James was a man who lived outside the law, and no one knew his face. He was killed one day in the county of Clay, and he came from a solitary race. Jesse came to the end with his back turned to a friend he thought was brave. And the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid poor Jesse in his grave. 'Twas a dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard and laid poor Jesse in his grave.
There ain't no question about it. Jesse was an outlaw, a bandit, a criminal. Even those that loved him ain't got no answer to that. But we ain't ashamed of him. I don't know why, but I don't think even America is ashamed of Jesse James. Maybe it's because he was bold and lawless, like we all of us like to be sometimes. Maybe it's because we understand a little that he wasn't altogether to blame for his times, maybe. Maybe it's because for 10 years he licked the tar out of 5 states. Or maybe it's because he was so good at what he was doing. I don't know. All I do know is he was one of the doggonedest, gall-dingedest, dad-blamedest buckaroos that ever rode across these United States of America. In loving remembrance, Jesse W. James died April 3rd, 1882, aged 34 years, 6 months, 28 days, murdered by a traitor and coward whose name is not worthy to appear here.
Thinking about getting out of the damn cattle business.
You never said nothing except nag me and Button about getting ourselves out.
Maybe my own words struck a chord. Thought maybe I'd sell off the cattle and have enough to start up a saloon somewhere. Man could stay cool in the summer and dry in the winter. Some dancing girls might be nice. You know, have to get me some.
Put your hand on the Bible.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So
swear.
help you God?
Your Honor, I sense a certain antipathy.
Sit down, Mr. Bragg.
I sense a certain antipathy toward me here today because I'm a relative newcomer. No, I didn't kill Jack Bell or his deputies. Jack was a friend of mine. I had no reason to kill him. Mr. Whitfield is nothing more than a fearful boy, easily persuaded to say anything, easily persuaded by Marshal Cole. Now, the citizens of Appaloosa have allowed Mr. Cole to take over their town. But it is not justice in this new nation of ours to allow him to deprive me of my liberty, let alone my life.
Eloquent, Mr. Bragg, but unconvincing. I find you guilty of these charges and sentence you to hang at Yawkey Prison. Court's adjourned.
Solemnly swear to uphold the letter of the law and its enforcement as stated in the revised statutes of Texas 1855. And furthermore, do you swear solemn allegiance and vow to uphold the honor of Lily Langtree?
I do.
Judge? Judge?
Can I be the bartender? I've had my fill of being shot at for money.
What about that part about Miss Langtree?
That's the most beautiful woman I ever seen in all my born days.
By the power vested in me through God in the great and honorable state of Texas, I hereby proclaim you to be marshals of the court of the county of Greater Vinegaroon. For Texas and Miss Lily.
Take the horses up by the side entrance and don't leave them. We may need them in a hurry.
You going in?
Looks like a show I ought to see.
You gonna shoot him right on the stage?
No, first I'm just gonna scare him to death.
We want the farm money.
Take another step and I'll shoot.
Oh, no, you won't. You know who we are?
No, and I don't care.
I'm Jesse James. This is my brother Frank. Now, do we get the money?
Over my dead body.
If that's the way you want it.
Help! 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 Help!
Cheyenne, they Sioux, Blackfeet have all been pacified. Even most of the Apaches are quiet here on the reservations where I put them. Indeed, I have even enlisted some of them to act as scouts with our forces. So there remains but one Indian enemy, War Eagle. And here he sits, below the border, secure in his fortress, his natural fortress of the Sierra Madres. Waiting, gathering strength, drawing to him all the hotheads, the broncos, the renegades.
But one day he will come out. Again cross that little river, and I shall have a second chance at him. Perhaps at that time, some of you gentlemen may be serving with me, and thus be a part of bringing the wars, the Indian wars, to a final conclusion once and for all time. Gentlemen, I thank you for your kind attention and for the pleasure of this brief visit with you here at West Point. Good day, sir.
What if there were Apaches out there now, watching us?
Don't alarm yourself, young lady. The wild free ones are all up in the mountains. The wild caught ones are at St. Carlos.
I've heard a lot of stories about what the Indians do to white women.
They do the same thing to white women they do to Indian women. And they don't mind it much, red or white.
I don't know if the ladies enjoy that kind of talk very much.
What kind of talk?
About Apache Indians and what they do to women and all.
You saying I got a loose mouth?
Well, if he wasn't saying it, I am.
Hey! That lady speaks right up, don't she?
Mm-hmm. And if you want to know if I'm carrying a gun, I'm not. My tongue is my only weapon, Mr. Grimes.
And it's deadly. Stop it, you fools! Ah, you stop it. Get in there. All right. Put them up. Where are you?
I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
That's put the money up. Transfer it to us.
Mom, is that you?
There now. You've been asleep for nearly 6 hours now.
I had this horrible nightmare. I dreamed I was in a Western. I was being chased by all these Indians and a bear.
Well, you're safe and sound here now at the McFly farm.
McFly farm? Ah! Well, you're my... Who are you?
The name's McFly. Maggie McFly.
McFly? Maggie?
And that's Mrs. McFly, and don't you be forgetting the Mrs. And what might your name be, sir?
Well, it's Eastwood? Clint Eastwood?
The Chiricahua Apache of the American Southwest were the last of the great tribes to defy the United States government and its effort to impose the reservation system. The Army, under the command of Brigadier General George Crook, was entrusted with the responsibility of breaking this resistance. His campaign into the Chiricahua strongholds below the Mexican border brought to a conclusion a conflict that had raged through the Southwest for nearly 2 decades.
Tell old Nan and the others we're not going to hurt them. We're not going anywhere. We don't want to fight. We came here to bring you to a reservation. Tell your men that. Nantan Lupan only wants peace with the Chiricahua. Live on the reservation.
Only one Chiricahua warrior and his band of renegades held out. Then even he sent word that he would give himself up in 2 months' time. He was called Goyatla, but years before, the Mexicans had given him another name, Geronimo.
Orders of the commanding officer, you will carry out the following order. So, inasmuch as Geronimo has led his warriors off the reservation for the 3rd time, causing much bloodshed, it is therefore directed by General Niles that Geronimo and said warriors be transported to Fort Marion, Florida, on this day, April 14, 1886.
Fourth, 7, 20, 51, 4th, 7, 26.
Those that are going to go on 1 hour to eat, folks, while we change the horses.
Oh, let me help you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. McKay.
All right, Clint, turn him around. Get up, Rowdy! Get up!
Hurry, let's go. Come on.
Get ready.
Well, let him come.
Have recently embarked on an Easter tour of the Midwestern and Southwestern states. They will perform one evening only in the following cities: Chicago, April 1st, Kansas City, April 6th, San Antonio, April 11th. My God, John. She's coming to San Antonio.
They say that she is at her incomparable best in The Fool's Revenge.
You should go and see her before she grows old and fat.
Miss Lily's beauty is timeless. Anyway, I can't.
Why not?
Too busy. Got all those civic responsibilities. Criminals to prosecute. Station house going up. Babies being born.
We will wait.
Get the Sears and Roebuck.
Sure thing,
I'll need the proper attire. When people go to see Miss Lily, they get dressed for the occasion. They wear tails.
I'm listening, Jim. All I hear is that little whistle of a sound. The wind.
A lot more than that out there.
Tell me, Jim, what?
Well,
No, please, tell me. I'll try to understand. What do you hear out there?
well, first of all, I guess I hear the buffalo.
Buffalo? But they aren't there anymore.
That's right.
Oh. What else, Jim?
Indians
Gone, too?
herded into a reservation. I can remember the first time I saw her. We'd come a long way, and nobody was telling us about any surprises either. We just came over the hill, and there she was, sort of lying there all alone. Nobody wanted her then, except the antelope and the buffalo and the Indians. So we took her and we set her up right for cow country. We fought for her. Our blood sunk in every mile. Indian blood, too. I'm not so proud of some of that. My brother's out there.
Yes, sir. Can I help you today?
Can of peaches. Big can, please.
Best Eastern peaches in the West.
Would you open it for me?
No charge.
You got a book that teaches you reading and writing?
McGuffey's Primer. Right under the stairs.
Hey.
Of course. You can't pick one out until you can read, and you can't read until you can pick one out, can you? It's this here one. Or as McGuffey would say, this one here. That's 25 cents for the peaches and 10 cents for the book. Funny, isn't it? Ideas don't weigh much, but peaches do, and the freight company charges by the weight. You know, 6 books, it isn't very important. Most people are hungry in the stomachs and they are in the minds anyway.
You didn't cut him deep enough.
He had a lot of blood, an unusual amount.
That's the same as every other. Help me up. There are 16 major veins in the neck, and you have to cut through them all.
I ain't 16.
My uncle had an acquaintance with a man who used to be a doctor, and that's what he said. Now you get on with the task.
Worthless.
Don't throw no Bibles in there.
I know it's bad luck. Besides, you can always sell them some idiot.
Death Valley, 1892. Commercial borate whitening the desert floor. A fortune for anyone hardy enough to brave death by dehydration. Man's answer, the borax industry, made possible by a 20-mule team hauling 60,000 pounds of borate through an inferno for 16 days.
Come on, Dick. Come on, rattlesnake. Dig in there. Dig in. Pick him up there. Rattlesnake. Come on, Magnolia. Get in there. Get up there. Chuckawalla, get in there. Up, honey! Hold on, Buckeye! Pick him up, Soaplegs! Come on, Buttercup. Come on, dig in, you swayback son of desert jackrabbits, you! Dig in! Rock him up, Pete. Rock him up! There ain't no place.
Looks like you got him, Joe.
Yep. How far they get? Diablo Canyon. Apaches, huh? Gotta be about the end of them, man. You'd think, but like ants, they just keep coming.
The little town of Stillwater toward the end of the last century. At that time, it was thought that the outlaw flame which had seared the middle border since the end of the Civil War was almost extinguished. However, there were some who knew that the fire was not yet out.
Hello, Bob. The shotgun would ignite, and Ella May would scream. But Robert Ford would only lay on the floor and look at the ceiling, the light going out of his eyes, before he could find the right words.
Well, now, friends, just lend an ear, for you're now about to hear the ballad of Cat Ballou. It's a song that's newly made, and Professor Sam the Shade and the Sunrise Kid are singing it for you. Cat Ballou, Cat Ballou, Cat Ballou. It's a hanging day in Wolf City, Wyoming. Wolf City, Wyoming, 1894. They're gonna drop Cat Ballou through the gallows floor. She killed a man in Wolf City, Wyoming. Wolf City, Wyoming, killed a man, it's true. And that is why they're hanging Cat Ballou. She has the smile of an angel, fights like the devil, the eyes of an angel, bites like the devil, the face of an angel. I say she's the devil. She's mean and evil through and through.
Hey, son!
Oh, hiya, Yancey.
Hey, that's quite a contraption you got there.
Look anything like an auto luck?
Well, how ought it to look like?
It's in the magazine.
What? How about that? You really done it, huh?
Cat Ballou, Cat Ballou. Cat, your time has come as you stand on the brink. It's sure making you think about your life of sin. How come they're now gonna hang you? And how did you
There it is, Mr. Trail Driver. White Horse Pass. 2 miles straight up.
Real pretty.
Well, we better get going while we still got daylight.
Now, we're not going over White Pass. We're going down through the valley.
In the great gold rush, Alaska was the hope and dream of wayworn men. The ruthless siren of the far north, beckoning thousands to her icy bosom, beckoning thousands to her unknown regions. The Chilkoot Pass was the great barrier to the goldfields. Over this pass, men faced untold misery and hardship. Many lost their lives. Some fell exhausted the wayside. Others lost courage and turned back. But the brave went on. Far into the icy north, deep into the silent nowhere, came an undaunted lone prospector.
Here in California, we don't know how lucky we are. From all I hear, the world's gone crazy over gold. People in their thousands, from all walks of life, are flocking to Frisco and Seattle, fighting for passages to Alaska.
Can you wonder at it, Judge? They say the Klondike River is just stacked with gold. It's all here. You take the train to Seattle, steam pack it up the coast to Skagway. With guts, anyone could do it.
They carefully avoid mention of the journey from Skagway to Dawson City. That overland trail is the most heartbreaking in the world. 500 miles and nothing but rocks, snow, and ice, with temperatures dropping to 50 degrees below.
Tom Wyatt! It's oil! Look at it! Smell it! Taste it! Oil! I hit oil! I hit oil! Oil! It's oil!
We're rich. Here you go.
Looking back,
seems to me we were all a bunch of romantic fools. We still believed that a good pistol and a quick showdown could solve everything. But then the West used to be wide open spaces with lots of elbow room where you never ran into the same person twice. By the time you came along, it was changed. It got small and crowded, and you kept bumping into the same people all the time.
Raindrops are falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me.
Kid in person. Right this way, folks. Come one, come all. Step right up and outshoot the famous Oregon Kid, the last of the Western Town Tamers. Fatten your wallets and be a hero to your family. Everybody welcome. Step up, try your luck. All you gotta do is hit the plate, and you win the money.
Quit the sermon and turn her loose.
$1 on the yellow. Way up.
$496. All right, Sam, that's $108,256.14.
What's your pleasure, folks? We've hit it big, and we're buying.
The law is here to protect a little guy like yourself. And I'm at your service free of charge.
Free?
That's what I said. You don't have to pay me anything. It would be an honor for the next senator from the state of Washington to be your servant before the scales of justice.
Mighty decent of you. I don't know.
When a man, McCabe, when a man goes into the wilderness and with his bare hands gives birth to a small enterprise, nourishes it, and tends it while it grows, well, I'm here to tell you that no dirty sons of bitches are going to take it away from him. Now, ain't that right?
Well,
You're damn right it's right. Now, you take that there company, Harrison and Shaughnessy. They are stockholders. Now, do you think they want their stockholders and the public thinking that their management isn't imbued with all the principles of fair play and justice? The very values that make this country what it is today? Busting up these trusts and monopolies is at the very root of the problem of creating a just society. Damn it, McCabe, I'm here to tell you that this free enterprise system of ours works. And working within it, we can protect the small businessman and the big businessman as well.
Well, yeah. I just didn't want to get killed.
Until people stop dying for freedom, they ain't gonna be free.
My dearest Lily, I take pen in hand to write you for this very last time. I wish to tell you that although I have never seen you or heard the sound of your voice, I have carried you with me in my heart always. Your presence on this earth has given me strength and dignity become unto a gentleman, and helped me to drive away the cold in my long and lonely night. I wish to say lastly, it has been an honor to adore you. God willing, sometime in this life or afterwards, I may yet stand in your light and declare myself forever and ever your ardent admirer and champion, Judge Roy Bean.
Right, Tom, step back on the trap. There.
Sam, I've never seen such a pasty-faced bunch of sheriffs in my life.
No. No, no. No, Cable. No.
Hey, what's that?
What?
That.
Oh, I seen one once before.
Out here on them roads?
It go anywhere. Help! 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 He's gonna kill me! Kill me! Stop! Stop! Oh! You damn dumb bastards!
See that crazy Calvert go by?
It is dust.
When you come back to Banning, Willie boy?
5 o'clock, Fred.
Going to the fiesta?
Guess that's where I'm going.
The Edwardian Golden Age. Gentile civilization had come to England, the continent, and the eastern United States. New York rivaled London and Paris as one of the great metropolises of the world. Albert Einstein had expounded his theory of relativity back in 1905. And science had brought us the wonders of the modern world. Culture and refinement had arrived on the east coast of America. Caruso was singing Pagliacci at the Met. Arturo Toscanini was conducting. The Barrymores were performing. And the Ziegfeld Girl was the rage. 1909 in the western part of the 46 United States was not so refined. The surviving Indian warriors were now being rounded up by the U.S. Army. In Washington, William Howard Taft, 300 pounds of pure Republican, was president, and life was comfortable. In other parts of the country, men were fighting each other and the elements. In the New York department stores, a lady could buy maxis and boots and live in style. Out west, they didn't think about style, just living. Eastern Empire builders had secured their fortunes, the Morgans, Vanderbilts, Carnegies. There were empires in the West, too, such as the great McCandless Ranch.
Young man, you only know it firsthand since the railroad came through. A lot different then. A lot different before, Mr. Scott. A lot different. First time I came to Shinbone, I came by stagecoach. A lot like that one right there. Well, could be the same one. Could be the same one. Oberlin say, I think it is the same one. Oh, I declare. Oh, I declare. I'm just a youngster, fresh out of law school, bag full of law books, my father's gold watch, $14.80 in cash. I had taken Horace Greeley's advice literally. Go west, young man, go west. And seek fame, fortune, adventure.
The West that was won by its pioneers, settlers, adventurers is long gone now. Yet it is theirs forever. For they left tracks in history that will never be eroded by wind or rain, never plowed under by tractors, never buried in the compost of events. Out of the hard simplicity of their lives, out of their vitality, their hopes, and their sorrows, grew legends of courage and pride to inspire their children and their children's children. From soil enriched by their blood, out of their fever to explore and build, came lakes where once were burning deserts, came the goods of the earth, mines and wheat fields, orchards and great lumber mills, all the sinews of a growing country. Out of their rude settlements, their trading posts, came cities to rank among the great ones of the world. All the heritage of a people free to dream, free to act, free to mold their own destiny.
From its